When I first saw the little silver tube on our bathroom counter, I didn't think much of it. Sarah was always buying new skincare products, always trying something different from what the influencers recommended. But what made me pause wasn't the product itself. It was the way she snatched it up when she saw me looking at it. "It's just skin gel," she said quickly, stuffing it into her makeup bag. Her voice had that edge, the one people use when they're guarding something. I should have let it go. But after 12 years of marriage, you know when something's off. Sarah and I used to be that couple everyone admired. We met in college. She was studying graphic design, I was doing architecture. We built a life that felt solid. A cozy house, 2 kids, a little chaos but a lot of laughter. Somewhere between bedtime stories and late work nights, we became quiet roommates instead of lovers. Still, I trusted her. I always trusted her. Until that night. It started small. Sarah began working late more often. She said her design firm had landed a big project, and she had to stay after hours. Sometimes she'd come home with her hair still damp, smelling faintly of a men's cologne she claimed was her new vanilla musk. I told myself not to be paranoid. She deserved trust. But when you wake up at midnight to find your wife smiling at her phone, whispering something under her breath before turning off the screen, something in you changes. You start seeing shadows where there shouldn't be any. One evening, after the kids were asleep, Sarah came out of the shower wearing her robe. She set that same silver tube on the counter again. It didn't have any brand label, just a black cap. I watched her apply it to her inner thighs, flinching slightly as if it stung. "What's that for?" asked. She glanced at me in the mirror. "A prescription gel. For my skin. Doctor's orders." He nodded. "What kind of prescription doesn't have a label?" He shot me a glare. "You're being weird, Mark." And just like that, the wall between us grew a little higher. I didn't want to be that husband, the one who snoops, who doubts. But 2 weeks later, she told me she was going to a team retreat for the weekend. Something about brainstorming in a cabin with colleagues. I wanted to believe her. I really did. But my gut twisted in a way it hadn't before. That night, while she was packing, I noticed her slipping the silver tube into her purse. "Taking your gel to the woods," I joked, masking my unease. She froze for a second, then forced a laugh. "Can't skip skincare, right?" Something in her tone felt rehearsed. I couldn't sleep that night after she left. I scrolled through photos of us on my phone. Family vacations, birthdays, her smile pressed against mine. They all looked genuine. They were genuine, once. But people change quietly. That's when I remembered the new security cameras I'd installed in our house a few weeks earlier. The ones Sarah thought were only outside. I'd placed a small indoor one in the hallway near our bedroom, mainly for safety since the kids slept down the hall. Out of restless curiosity, I opened the app. Nothing at first. Just our empty home. The hallway light flickered once as the AC kicked in. Then, around midnight on Friday, motion was detected in our bedroom. My stomach tightened. The feed showed Sarah, except she wasn't at a cabin. She was right there in our house. And she wasn't alone. A man entered the frame. Tall, bearded, confident. He moved like he belonged there. Sarah's arms went around him instantly, like she'd been waiting. A kiss. The kind of kiss that leaves no doubt. My hand went numb around my phone. The sound of my heartbeat drowned everything else. For 12 years I'd built my life around this woman. Her comfort, her laughter, her dreams. And here she was in our home, desecrating it with someone else. When she pulled back, she reached for the nightstand. That silver tube glinted under the lamp. "Same old cover story," the man chuckled. She laughed softly. "Skin gel. Works every time." That was the moment something in me broke. Cleanly, quietly, like glass shattering under silk. I didn't confront her immediately. I didn't scream or throw things. Instead, I saved the footage, locked it behind a password, and waited. When she came home on Sunday night, smelling faintly of someone else's aftershave, I played along. I helped unpack her bag. I kissed her forehead. I even told her I missed her. She smiled like nothing had happened. It was such a productive weekend, she said. You should have seen how creative everyone got. Oh, I bet, I murmured. She didn't catch the tone. Or maybe she didn't want to. For the next week, I studied her the way an architect studies cracks in a wall, quietly, methodically, searching for the point of collapse. She'd hum while texting, wear new perfume, disappear for coffee meetings. Everything about her was a performance, and I was watching the final act. I made copies of the footage, backed it up in the cloud, and contacted a lawyer. Not because I wanted revenge, but because I needed to protect what was left of my life. My kids, my sanity, my dignity. Then one night she caught me off guard. "Mark," she said softly, sitting beside me on the couch. "You've been distant lately. Is everything okay?" I looked at her, her wide blue eyes pretending to care. The same eyes that had looked at another man in our bed. "Yeah," I said slowly. "Actually, everything's clearer now." She frowned. "What do you mean?" I smiled faintly. "I installed new cameras. For security. You should see what they captured." Her face drained of color. "Cameras?" "Yeah," I said, pulling out my phone. "Want to see something interesting?" Her breathing quickened. "Mark, wait." But I pressed play. Her laughter, the one that used to melt me, echoed through the speakers as she wrapped herself around him. The color on her face deepened from pale to crimson. She tried to grab the phone, but I held it away. "Skin gel, huh?" I said quietly. "Works every time." Tears welled in her eyes. "Mark, please, I can explain." "Don't," I cut her off. "You've already explained enough." She broke down then, sobbing, muttering excuses, that it was a mistake, that she felt neglected, that he meant nothing. But every word sounded like static. Because betrayal isn't just about the act. It's about the moment you realize the person you loved could look you in the eyes and lie, and still sleep beside you. The next morning she packed a suitcase. I didn't stop her. Couldn't. The kids asked where Mom was going, and I told them she needed some time to think. Maybe that was true. Maybe I was the one who needed it more. At night, I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the faint imprint where she used to lie. The room still smelled like her, a cruel ghost that lingered even when she didn't. I deleted the footage. Not because I forgave her, but because I refused to let it own me. Weeks passed. She tried to reach out. Long messages, voicemails full of apologies. I didn't answer. People always say betrayal makes you stronger, but they never tell you about the silence afterward. The way you replay conversations, wondering which parts were real and which were scripted. I found myself standing in front of the bathroom mirror one night, the same place it all started. Her silver tube still sat in the drawer, half empty. I picked it up and turned it over in my hand. No label, no brand, just emptiness, kind of fitting. Months later, Sarah showed up at the house. The kids were out with my sister. She looked tired. Not the glamorous, confident woman from before, but hollowed out. "I lost him," she said quietly. "He used me. I thought I mattered to him, but I didn't." I nodded, emotionless. "I know the feeling." She took a shaky breath. "Can we start over? For the kids?" For a moment I almost wanted to say yes. But then I remembered the video, her laughter, the way she dismissed her betrayal with, "Just skin gel. You can rebuild a house after an earthquake. But the cracks never really disappear." "I'll always be their father," I said. "But you and we're done." Tears spilled down her cheeks as she whispered, "I made a mistake." I met her eyes one last time. "No, Sarah. You made a choice." After she left, the house felt impossibly quiet. But there was a strange peace in that silence, like breathing fresh air after being underwater for too long. I went to the bathroom again, opened the drawer, and threw the silver tube into the trash. It landed with a soft thud, the sound of something meaningless finally finding its place. Then I looked in the mirror, and for the first time in months, I didn't see a broken man. I saw someone rebuilding. Because sometimes the truth doesn't destroy you, freeze you.